What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about a couple precious metals today and some radioactive materials. We're going to talk about gold, silver, and uranium today. Not at the request of anybody, but kind of inspiration of Samuel of BT, I think is what it was. Samuel of BT. I wrote you a nice response. You had a good question, and it just kind of inspired this video. So I've seen other YouTubers like Economic Ninja, shout out to the Ninja, talk about silver recently, and a lot of people are talking about gold recently, obviously. But a little, not many people I feel like are talking about uranium, and I think uranium could be a good play as well. So we're going to go over all of these right now and just kind of talk about them, right? Gold is not my forte. It's a very long and slow performing asset, but it's long and slow to the upside. It always moves up over time, man. I don't care if it's moving sideways and being boring. It's the best time to buy. But here we are, clearly at new all-time highs, and as far as relative price per ounce goes, if we're looking at this from a relative high to a low of the last high that we had, or the last significant macro high that we had back in 2011, we're on a 6-month time frame. Man, crazy. Super overbought on the 6-month RSI. You can see where we normally like to go to for gold is all the way up at these really high 95 plus readings on the RSI. So I think that we've got more growth to go over, at least the next couple of months, if not the next 8 months or so, right? We are here at the 1,886,200 area now. It's a good area to find resistance. Gold is a lot less volatile than most things as far as like percentage goes, but it still respects the fibs. So finding resistance here, I would anticipate you go down to the golden ratio. Gold will go to its golden ratio, right? Probably down at about $2,800 per ounce, right? Something around there, and inevitably continue to build. That's my expectation. We look at this on a monthly time frame. You have 7 days left in this month. If you continue to drop like this, you will have bearish divergence on the monthly time frame. That would be good, literally, for a move all the way down to the golden ratio itself. So it's perfect, because that was where this last high formed. That's where the divergence formed. I don't think you're going to see any kind of massive sell-off, but everybody and their mother's talking about gold now. So you probably got a lot of people, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. You probably have a lot of people who are inexperienced who are buying here. The people who are experienced are selling here, and this is what's going to be called a shakeout. It's not going to be dramatic. It's just going to be a lower high or a higher low, sorry, and it'll be something to build from. But the novices who bought up here are going to sell down here and then miss out on the next. They'll probably FOMO in back at the high and buy for a loss. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It's not ideal, but it's okay to buy the high. You could have bought gold when it was at the tip of its peak, $3,500 all-time high price. You could have bought it there. It's okay to buy at its high. In time, it's going to come back. We know it's going to go up. It's going to go beyond. It's not okay to buy high and sell low, right? So don't do that. Don't complete the thought. It's okay if you got trapped in here. I don't know if it's a good time to sell here, because the thing is, I can be wrong and we could just keep running. I'm definitely not advocating anybody sell their gold. It's definitely worth. Did you remember whenever I said we've probably got another at least 8 months of growth to go, right? We've got more time to go. It's not done here, but momentarily it might be done. Okay. Weekly time frame. Pretty overbought. Yeah, you're looking like that's a good reversal candle right there. Yeah. Daily time frame. You've been overbought a good bit. Yeah, just cool off. Cool off a little bit, gold. You're too hot. You need to be cold gold. We don't want hot gold. I guess we do want hot gold. But anyways, moving on from that, let's talk about silver now. Silver at US dollars per ounce. Yes, we're not doing any like specific companies. For uranium, we'll do a specific company, but that's because you can't really buy uranium by the ounce, can you? That's you probably shouldn't be housing uranium to the individual, right? Like, you can't physically own that. I mean, I don't know. Can you physically own? Can you? Are you allowed to physically own uranium? I don't. That this seems like it would be a bit of a hazard. I'm kind of curious. I clicked Grok. What are you doing to me, Grok? I think it's because I haven't used x.com yet, so I had to refresh itself. Can I physically buy uranium to have on my person? Legally cannot purchase it. Okay, I didn't think so. Yeah, I didn't think so. But so anyways, getting on with our bad selves here. $33 per ounce for silver. Yes, I do think silver. I mean, it's obvious. Look at what it's doing, right? It's moving up. You're consolidating, massive wick to the downside, moving up. You're about to break out. You are, absolutely you are. Silver's going to have its next run. Sometimes you see that happen, right? Gold runs up. It's kind of like Bitcoin with altcoins. Gold runs up, tapers off, then silver runs up, right? That happens. It's not always that cut and dry, but sometimes they do take turns. Oftentimes they do take turns, actually. And looking at it here, it does look like silver wants to run. What about the bearish divergence on the monthly time frame? Good call. That is bearish divergence. High here, lower high. High here, higher high. But the thing is, you already had it. You had it play out. And you've recovered in a very short amount of time. silver is in a position, a really good position to grow from here, guys, and I think that it is going to. If we're looking at this from a relative high back in 2011 to the relative low that you had back in March of 2020, the COVID crash, is that an appropriate, should I measure from that? Are you showing respect? That's the most important thing. Yes, you are showing respect. Okay, but let me look at this one real quick. That looks to be better respected. I'm not going to take the COVID crash. I think it's like a fake. It's not fake. It's real price. It exists, but I'm not going to take it into consideration because we're measuring the fib of this overall move. I think if it wasn't for COVID, that low would have never existed, right? And apparently I'm not the only one. You tipped right at the golden ratio here a couple times. What you're doing now is very indicative that you will move up to about $37, $43 is probably your next area. Silver in the short term, I think, will be moving up here. You probably find some turbulence. You'll pull back, find support there, but inevitably, I think silver is on its way to new all-time highs. It might have a little bit, some more time to go before then, but it's very clear the path that you're on, right? It very clearly is. I mean, we're talking about $70 an ounce at a minimum coming up probably by the end of this year. $85, $110. I'm sure you do find resistance at $110 probably, right? If you think about it psychologically, a lot of people might think, oh, $100 is where we're going to stop, and that would make a lot of sense. It'd make a lot of sense if we stop at 100. Maybe we do. Or we continue to grow, and that really suckers people in. It didn't stop at 100. Silver's unstoppable. We're going to who knows, who cares? I'm going to sell my house and buy some. And that's where we stop, and that's where we consolidate a little bit more. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I want to get a little bit more familiar with silver because I'm not as familiar with it here. Man, it's just such a long, drawn-out chart. There's really not much to go off of. I mean, you probably don't stop at $100 if I have to guess, actually. Like, looking at this, to be fair, you probably don't. This is a massive cup and handle. Wow. Right? It's a massive cup and handle pattern. And I was thinking 110. Okay, so let me rephrase this. I think you do find resistance at 110. I think you will. But I don't think you stop there in the sense that the way that you stopped like this, right? I think silver is about to go, and this is not going to be a short-lived process. This is going to be over the years, right? And this is, on the note of what Samuel was requesting, is it a good long-term investment? I think it is. Like over the years to come, if you've got long-term perspective in mind, yes, this thing it'll only grow. It's only going to grow. And I mean, there will be turbulence. Nothing moves up in a straight line forever. But from a high here to a low down here, it's a massive cup and handle, you guys. At this rate, $100 is the minimum. You probably do work your way over time. This isn't going to happen by the end of this year. Probably not even by the end of next year or the year after, right? We're on a 6-month time frame. It could be sometime in 2030 or after 2030. But you're on your way, man, to $240. You're on your way to multi-$100 prices per ounce for silver. I think so. I think so, right? And it makes sense, right? As we become more technologically involved and like, there's more applicable use cases for silver. It's going to be in higher demand and in more necessity for use cases like that. Silver is a precious metal after all, and it's been consolidating for a very long time below these $48 levels. And I'm not saying that by the end of this year we're going to be at $100 or anything like that. I mean, maybe we're at 100 by the end of this year. That'd be nuts. But I think that this thing has years worth of growth to go. Most likely by the end of this year, we're something at around your current all-time highs, if not even around this like $70 area. But again, these things don't move fast, right? They move a lot slower than the things that we're used to in the crypto world. But you got some higher prospects, man. We're looking at the 6-month RSI. The last time that you topped off, you were over here at about a 90 read. The times before that, you were at like above a 95. Crazy, crazy highs. You're not even there now. You're just getting overbought with this 6-month candle, and it doesn't stop here. You're beginning. Let's put it in perspective like this, okay? Let's look at it like this real quick before we move on to uranium, okay? The last time that it had been a long time since you'd been overbought, right? Over here. You got overbought. It's been a long time technically since 2012, but really it's been since like 2011 since you've been overbought. That was just a taste. This was the real. Anyways, okay? It's been a long time. The last time that it was a long time, it was an even longer time, whenever you finally got overbought on a 6-month period, right? Each of these candles takes 6 months to accomplish. Right here, look at the amount of time, look at the amount of growth you had, consistent growth. And yes, there was a year or so, a couple of years where you were consolidating, but here, that was 12. That's a 6-year period where you continue to grow, and that same kind of essence of a thought. It's 2025 now. It might be 2031. Might have been right with that 2032 call. 2031 being where you're worth multiple hundreds of dollars. That'll be whenever you end this next move, right? You got overbought here. You got overbought right here on this 6-month period here. and you continue to grow. I mean, really for 14, another like that was 7 years, 6 years, pretty damn coincidental, right? An initial pop that lasted about a year, an initial pop here that lasted about a year. So this year is going to be good. You might consolidate, but over time, yes, over the years, you're going to continue to grow, and you're absolutely going to move to new all-time highs, I think, within the next year or so. Not by the end of this year, but within the next year. You'll be, I mean, maybe probably actually by the end of this year. I wouldn't be surprised if you were at new all-time highs, or at least around there, but I digress. Yes, silver looks phenomenal. Now, before we move on to uranium, one last thing that I want to do, I want to take the measure move of this pattern, this ginormous, magnificent cup and handle pattern. You should take these measurements only based on a linear scale, because if you do it in log, it'll just make it too big. You're supposed to take it from the right side of the cup, actually, not the bottom, not the left side of the cup, and then you measure it from the top of the cup, the right side of the cup, right? That measure move takes you all the way up to about $96. $96 for the measure move of that cup and handle pattern, okay? And $96, if you guys remember, that is the minimum target. That's the standard from this all-time high to low perspective here. The 1272 is right there at about $97. So there's a lot of reasons to stop around $100, psychological and on the charts. I'm sure that you'll find resistance there in time, but I don't think it stops you. Not like $40, $48, $50 to stop you. Not like this. It'll stop you momentarily. But let's finish this up. We're going to talk about uranium. We're going to use URA. We're going to use the Global X Uranium ETF. Okay, this is a good one. There's plenty of uranium stocks and ETFs to look into. This is not the best one. Maybe it is. I don't know. That's not the purpose. We're just looking at this now to kind of gauge how the average uranium stock's doing, right? So here you can see uranium has been consolidating a lot. The reason I like uranium, you guys, is I feel like it's a bit overlooked whenever we think about commodities, whenever we think about things that actually like have value. As far as like precious metals go, it's very obvious because that's a very old and traditional thing, right? People that were alive before your grandparents were alive were aware that gold and silver was valuable, right? But uranium's a relatively nuanced thing, relatively, right? And nuclear is only becoming more proficient and efficient, and it's going to become more of a standard as time goes on, right? It is the future of energy. At least it's the best kind of form of energy that we know of so far, other than what if we could do fusion? We know fission. If we get fusion, nuclear fusion would be cool too. But I don't know. I don't know too much about this stuff, right? But I'm pretty sure fusion is better than fission. We just have fission right now. But anyways, as it gets more advanced, I think uranium will really take off, guys. We've been consolidating, a lot of downside, right? Massive sell-off. This is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of chart that I like. You want to find something that has been beaten the hell out of and has still grown and maintained its relevance. There's interest, there's a lot of volume coming in. We dropped here. No, we don't want notifications. No, I don't care. I'll notice. If I don't notice, it's on me. Then don't worry about it. TradingView. Thank you though. From a relative low, nope, that was not the low. I had it. You saw I had it, and then it just blinked down for whatever reason. TradingView got upset because I didn't want it to put me on blast. From a relative low to a relative high here, going down to your 786, ripping up like this, you guys. I think this thing is on its way to new relative highs here, on its way to new all-time highs in time, sure. But $23 now. Let's just look real quick. Let's just see. From a low to a high this month, uranium has moved up 22%. Silver, from its low to where it is right now on a monthly basis, has moved up 18%, right? Gold, man, keep going. XCN, we want to see that keep going. Gold obviously has moved down this month. Well, I guess you've moved up actually. Low to high, 11%, right? Which one's moved up the most? And uranium and silver are pretty close, but uranium definitely has taken the cake. And if anything, silver is at the top of its consolidation phase, where uranium is at the base of its consolidation phase, finding support here. I really do believe that not only do you have more to grow within this range, but once you break out, you're going to see expansion. You're going to see some expansion. You haven't expanded since 2021. You absolutely have some expansion to go. And if we're looking at this in kind of tandem here, okay, with this movement that we saw here, imagine that we see that exact same kind of maneuver from the low here. Where would that take you to? What area does that take you to? It takes you all the way up to this high right here. Like, it literally takes you right up to this high. It makes so much sense from a price perspective that you'd find resistance in this area if you're moving up. It's the most kind of solid block of price action whenever you're making this move down, right? Kind of consistently volatile down. Why can't, it's not volatility. It was volatile on the way down. You had some volatility on the way down. But this was the most kind of concise, consolidative area that you had, okay? If we're looking at this from a fib perspective, high, all-time high to the all-time low, it's right below your 786, okay. And I mean, you did just find support at your 786 relative here, right from a relative low to a relative high. You found support at your 786 there. Maybe you go up to your 786. That would be, I guess that's okay, because you're finding resistance around the resistance area here and then finding resistance at this support area here. I like that. $71. This is not going to be a short-lived experience. We're talking about years, right, from now probably. Maybe sometime in 2026, maybe sometime in 2027, but it's a longer drawn-out process. As far as what's a good investment for long-term, obviously Bitcoin's a great one. Obviously gold is a great one. Silver is a great one. I think uranium's a great one too. And if we're looking at this as far as growth potential goes, I think that it might grow at a faster pace than some of these other selections that we have. You know, what do I know? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but you've cooled way the hell off in your monthly RSI. You're bouncing off of your relative 382 area. That's nice to see. Next area to go to is the golden ratio, at least, and that's 43 to 53 bucks. I wouldn't be surprised if you were there by the end of this year. And you're on your way higher, man. I really do think you are. Looking at the weekly time frame, bouncing off the oversold area. I forgot that you got dividends on Euro here. It's not like crazy dividends, but decent. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's, you know, it seems like it alternates actually between like pretty damn decent and then low, but that's okay, man. It's not that often, right? June here to December, so it's not often, but still you get some dividends there. Daily time frame looking like it wants to move up. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else to say, guys. I hope it's clear. Ultimately, I think that uranium is going to go over the years to come probably to new all-time highs, like inevitably to new all-time highs. But if we're talking about the next stopping point like this, I would assume that we are somewhere around about $70, $71, something like that. That's a 200% growth from here. For silver, the next stopping point is what, like 200 and something dollars, but that's probably in like 2030, right? That's the expectation, 2030. Something like that, 2032, and that's a lot more growth. So I mean, and as far as the path ahead, I would think that uranium does outperform silver by 2032. I would think it does, but maybe it doesn't. You know, in the short term, over the next year or two, I think it has a solid chance to, but maybe it doesn't. Silver, as far as which one's going to perform better, I don't know. Right? I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. But I think they both will outperform gold. However, gold is the Mac Daddy for a reason, right? It's very desirable, and I think gold will continue to grow as well. But I got nothing else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.